Welcome to Marketing That Actually Works. I'm Adam Bennett.
And I'm Elisabeth Pallante. We're from Cube Creative Design, and for over 20 years now, we've helped pest control companies stop wasting money and start growing.
That's right. Today's episode, building your 2026 pest control marketing budget. And here are your 3 key takeaways.
Okay, I know, budget stuff, it's not that much fun, but we're going to try to simplify it as best we can. So 3 things. First, why most pest control companies underspend and what industry benchmarks actually say. Second, how to allocate your budget across attract, convert, and retain based on your revenue stage. And number 3, what ROI to expect and how to track whether your marketing is actually working.
This is exciting. Let's dive in.
So let me take out my crystal ball and divine your budgeting process. Take whatever you spent last year, add 10%, and divide by 12. Done.
Or worse, we'll spend whatever's left over after we pay all of our bills. Marketing becomes the remainder, not the driver of growth.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's not a strategy. That's just what happens. So that's just making last year's mistakes with 10% more money, really.
Yeah. And then you wonder, why is your competitor down the street having 15 trucks and you're stuck at 5? It's because they're investing in growth. You're hoping for growth.
Right. So here's the reality of the pest control market right now in 2026. The industry is growing 5 to 6.4% annually. That's really good news. Different sources give different total market sizes, but the growth rate is consistent. So the translation of this is that the pie is getting bigger. But if you're not investing to capture that growth, you're mathematically losing market share.
Yeah, that's right. Customer acquisition costs have surged well over 222% over the past 8 years. So what cost $9 to acquire a customer in 2013 now costs $29, which is obvious when you go to the grocery store. It's affected everything.
Yeah.
For pest control specifically, keywords like exterminator near me costs $34 per click. That's just the click. That's not even turning into a customer. If somebody clicks on that link, it costs you $34.
That's crazy. So here's what this means. Your competitors who invested in marketing early built their customer bases when acquisition was cheap.
And every month you wait, you're paying the latecomer tax. The longer you wait to invest seriously in marketing, the more expensive it gets.
Yeah. So, I hate to say this. The best time to invest in marketing was 5 years ago. Like there's always that aspect, but that's not where we are. You're right here. So the second best time is today. It's right now because next year it'll continue to get more expensive.
And something that we've talked about is that growth requires investment. You can't cut your way to $5 million. You have to spend money on marketing to generate the leads that drive that growth.
Okay, so let's start with the industry standard for service businesses. Small Business Administration says business to consumers companies typically spend 7 to 12% of revenue on marketing.
For pest control specifically, companies focused on growth trend towards the higher end of 10 to 12%.
So, in other words, if you're doing $500,000 in revenue, you should be spending $50,000 to $60,000 per year. That's $4,000 to $5,000 per month.
Yeah, and if you're doing $1 million in revenue, that's $100,000 to $120,000 per year, $8,000 to $10,000 per month. Elisabeth, that seems really high, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, it does, but it's going to pay. It pays its way. So at this stage, you're probably running 1 to 2 trucks, maybe just you and a helper. Budget minimum at this point is $2,000 to $4,000 a month. So how that breaks down, the allocation of that is 40% foundational, right? This is your website, your Google business profile setup, your basic SEO, your basic search engine optimization. 40% of that are paid leads. This is Google local service ads, Google search ads as well. And then 20% of that is retention, which is so huge. We talked about this in our first episode, right? Like how that pays off to retain a client versus obtain a new one. So that's email setup, like email marketing, celebrating anniversaries, things like that, review generation as well.
Yeah, reviews are so important for this as well. At this stage, you're focused on providing the business model and getting the initial traction. So that initial customer, you need leads fast. So paid advertising gets equal weight with foundation building.
Right.
But let's say now you've got 3 to 5 trucks, a proven business model, and you're ready to scale. So your budget, $5,000 to $8,000 a month.
Okay. So then at that point, your allocation shifts. This is a different amount of money. This is a different situation. 50% of that is organic growth. So when I say that, we're talking about search engine optimization, SEO. These are the articles on your site that are answering very specific questions to people doing searches, right? Content marketing, authority building. 35% of this is paid acquisition. That's the Google ads, the local service ads, maybe Facebook. 15% of that would be retention and referrals, email automation, some sort of referral program we've seen work really well.
So why the shift to organic, the SEO? Because at this stage, you really need to reduce your acquisition costs. You can't scale to $2 million paying $300 to $400 per lead with Google Ads and other paid ads.
So, investing in SEO and content now means in 6 to 12 months, you're getting free organic leads. And we say free, of course, you've invested money in this, but when we say free, we're saying it's not an ongoing Google Ads price that you're paying per lead. So, at that point, you've invested in it. In 6 to 12 months, you're getting free organic leads while still running paid ads, those paid per click ads. You're diversifying your lead sources so you're not so dependent on just one way of getting clients.
So you're growing more, and now you have 6 to 12 trucks. You have multiple techs, maybe a sales manager. Your budget right now, $10,000 to $20,000 per month.
Okay. So looking at how that breaks down, the allocation at that point, we would suggest 55% organic and brand. So that's SEO, content marketing, brand building. 30% of that would be paid acquisition, meaning multi channel paid ads. 15% of that goes towards retention and expansion, customer marketing, upsells. Upsells are great, and referrals.
Yeah, and at this stage, you should be dominating your local search organically. If somebody's searching for pest control near me, you should be showing up at the top. Your brand should be
Mhm.
recognized just by your name and your service area. And paid ads become supplemental. They're not primary anymore. You're not paying per click.
And what a relief that you can use that supplementary. You can use that. It definitely helps grow, but it's not, it feels good to not be so dependent on just that one source. Okay. So stage four, right? Now you're running 12 to 20 trucks or more. You've got an established brand, a mature business. The budget that you've got is between $20,000 and $50,000 per month.
Right? So let's look at your allocation. So 50% of that budget should go towards brand and authority. High level SEO, you want to make sure that you're staying on the top organically. Digital content, sponsorships. So sponsoring things in your community. 30% paid at scale, sophisticated multi-channel campaigns, 20% customer growth, upsells, retentions, referrals, and customer marketing. Elizabeth, that sounds like a whole lot going
I
on
know
there.
it is a whole lot. You can't think about all this at once. This is stage by stage and like working to a different point, right? We're just kind of we're covering a lot in this episode. But in this situation, you should own your local market at this stage. When someone thinks pest control in your city, they think your name. Your name's really out there and it's well known.
Yeah, and the ROI or the return on investment is beautiful. So your acquisition cost is lower because of brand awareness. Somebody knows your name. Your retention is higher because you have systems in place. Your lifetime value per customer is higher because you've built their trust. You're providing a great service and you're taking care of their needs.
Okay, so really it's true here that no matter your revenue stage, your budget should be split across three buckets. You probably heard that, like as we went through, kind of like three main buckets that we were allocating funds into. You can break those down into attract, convert, and retain. And actually, if you want more information on that, I would go back and listen to the first episode because we talked more in depth on each of those buckets in that episode. Same framework from episode one, but at this point, we're just putting dollars, exact dollars behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is everything that brings new people to you. You've got your SEO, your content marketing, Google Ads, local service ads or LSAs, and now your social media advertising. So think about for a $5,000 marketing budget, that's about uh, $2,500 to $3,000 on attraction. So let's look at the breakdown: $1,000 for SEO and content creation, 1,500 to 2,000 for paid advertising. That sounds about right, I think.
Yeah, so you're seeing what we're seeing is the biggest allocation for the attraction, right? For the attract bucket. Why is this the biggest bucket? Because without new leads, you don't have a business. You got to have that attraction. Industry average customer churn, losing customers, is 20 to 30% annually. You need new customers to replace them, plus more to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is everything that turns traffic into leads: website, landing pages, forms, at all tracking, and conversion optimization. So for a $5,000 budget, that's around $1,000 to $1,500 just on your conversion tools, but it pays off.
The conversion bucket is really all about improving your efficiency. If you can increase your website conversion rate from even just 2% to 4%, you just doubled your leads without spending another dollar on traffic. This is the highest ROI bucket, but it's oftentimes really the most neglected, I'd say, that we see with our clients.
Yeah. So let's talk about retention for a second. So this is everything that keeps customers. And we talked about this in episode one: email automation, review generation, referral programs, customer newsletters. $5,000 a month budget. That's around $500 to $1,000 on retention programs.
Right. Yeah. And this one's often skipped as well. Like this is one
Absolutely.
that often gets dropped. So this seems small. That amount of money seems small, right? That percentage. But email alone has a $36 return on investment per dollar spent. So it's the highest return channel. And remember, acquiring a new customer costs 5 to 7 times more than retaining an existing one. That's a really important number.
Yeah, and even a small investment in retention has a massive impact down the line for the future. An automated email sequence that reactivates 10 dormant customers per month at $500 each, just doing that quick math, that's $5,000 in found revenue just by having this automated system to reach back out to those customers.
It's a huge one. And when you compare that to trying to cut costs, what an easier thing to do just to retain your clients rather than try to cut.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you set your budget, you're spending $5,000 a month. What should you expect in return? Let's talk about ROI.
Okay, realistic expectations by time frame, because this is what everybody asks: how quickly will this work? So I would say, just generally, month 1 to 3, your paid ads should start generating leads immediately. I mean, this is something where you can create an ad, and after a brief warm up period on that platform, you'll start seeing leads come through. 20 to 50 leads per month depending on your budget and market. So easy win. Next, SEO and content. Don't expect much yet in the first 3 months. You're planting seeds, remember? And then email and retention, setting up automation, you'll start to see those reactivations. So as those emails go out, you'll start seeing some results.
So then from months 4 to 6, your paid ads are optimized at that point. You've gotten some good traction and you're figuring out like what works and what doesn't work. Lead quality is usually improving at that point. The cost per lead is decreasing, right? You've honed in more on your customer base, what you need to target. SEO and content is starting to rank for long tail keywords. Organic traffic is increasing 20 to 30% typically at this point. Email automation is running smoothly. You got a measurable reactivation revenue. You're kind of honing in at this point. It's kind of coming into focus, I'd say, between months 4 and 6.
Yeah, but here's where the fun really starts: months 7 to 12. So let's talk about your paid ads. Those mature campaigns are consistently flowing in some leads because we've got a lot of good data and we've been able to really hone in those ads on what works really well. So it's known return on investment. You know how many leads are coming in based on how many clicks you're getting. Second, the SEO and content. This is significant growth. So 50 to 100% traffic increase between month 7 and 12. We see that consistently. So these are what we call the free leads that are coming in because people are searching for you online and finding you. They're not clicking on your ad. And then the email, the retention numbers are improving, referrals are increasing. So between month 7 and 12, things are really cooking now, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Mentioned too, like as we talk about honing in and what's specific and important in your market, it really does change like just according to where you are and what's needed. I feel like that's kind of ambiguous, but like it could even be the difference between running an ad that's like for rodent control versus get rid of the gopher problem in your yard. Like certain areas we've seen where it's just, just a slight tweak in that verbiage and what people are searching for that like really helps you get found. And so that's some of that discovery phase of a little bit of trial and error and then getting to that point by month 12 that like you kind of know your audience better with these very specific words basically that you're talking about and discussing on your site and in your ads.
Absolutely. And between months 7 and 12, you're going to get really great data from your Google ads for what people are actually searching for. And having a great content plan that works with your SEO can also be tweaked around that time to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck.
Yeah, that ability to pivot is important. Okay, so by month 12, a $5,000 month per month budget should be generating between 50 and 80 leads per month total, of 15 to 25 new customers per month, assuming a 30% close rate, $500 average per customer value. That's between $7,500 and $12,500 per month in new revenue.
Wow. So if you're multiplying that times 12, that's $90,000 to $150,000 revenue from $1,000 investment. So that's 1.5 to 2.5 times ROI in year one. And so you can only guess how that goes in year two.
It just gets better from there. So, what you want to track to help you in this scenario are your total leads per month by the source. Where are your people coming from? That's a really simple question to ask or to track. It's just a matter of doing it. The cost per lead by channel. You can know that easily by how much you're spending in each channel. The lead to customer conversion rate and the cost per acquisition by channel.
Yeah. And then let's look at your revenue metrics. So you want to know new customer revenue per month, customer lifetime value, marketing ROI, revenue generated divided by marketing spend.
Right. This is a lot of information here. So the key metric here is your customer acquisition cost versus the lifetime value. So if your customer acquisition cost is $300 and your lifetime value is $2,000, you're golden. That's great. That's a 6.7 time return. It's almost a 7 times return.
Yeah, and I would say most pest control companies should target a 3-to-1 lifetime value to a
Mm.
cost of acquisition ratio minimum. So for every dollar you spend acquiring a customer, they should be worth at least $3. So, Elizabeth, I know I did this to you last time, but let's recap those 3 takeaways. What were they?
That's great. I love the purification time where we get to consolidate this and hopefully help it stick, right? There's a lot of information, a lot of numbers we're throwing at you. So, three key takeaways from today. Number one, the industry benchmark is 10 to 12% of revenue. Companies they underspend because acquisition costs have surged 222%. That's a lot. And waiting costs more each year. Waiting longer is it's just gonna cost more as you go farther. So it's better to start now than later. Number two, allocate your budget across the 3 buckets that we talked about: attract, convert, and retain. Percentages shift by the stage, from 40-40-20 early stage to 50-30-20 at scale. But always that first bucket's going to be the biggest, the attraction bucket, right? How much money you're spending to attract. And number 3, expect a 1.5 to 2.5 times ROI in your first year, improving to about 3 to 5 times in year 2. And track your customer acquisition cost versus your lifetime value with a minimum 3-to-1 ratio. That's what you're looking for.
That's great. And we've created a marketing budget calculator for pest control companies just like you. You can plug in your revenue. It tells you what you need to spend and how to allocate it. Feel free to check it out at marketingthatactuallyworks.ai.
And if you'd like, you can book a strategy call with us if you want a custom budget for your specific situation.
This has been really exciting. Next Tuesday, we're going to talk about your website is losing you money, and here's how to fix it. We're going to walk through the 7 must-have elements every pest control website needs.
And while you're at it, and while you're here, subscribe and please leave us a 5-star review.
Thanks for listening to Marketing That Actually Works. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
See ya.